I personally do not like comic cons and comic expos or pop culture expos. I would much rather go to an anime con, and here's why. One, it feels very like corporate-y. There are multiple pop culture and comic cons that are corporately run, which means a company owns them, and their only job is to run these conventions across the country. And the crappy thing is that they don't even run them well, despite that being like their job is to run them. They don't run them well, and it ends up becoming a very obvious cash grab, and it makes me uncomfortable. I also don't feel as well respected in Comic Con spaces. I feel like there is just this kind of almost gatekeeping of people who enjoy anime or other types of nerd media that you're not going to experience at an anime con. At an anime con, you're never going to be told, like, why are you cosplaying from a comic book? Because it's just accepted there. But at comic cons, I have been told, why are you cosplaying from anime? And it always feels really bad and really gatekeepy. And I just don't like the way that they run their cosplay contests. I don't like how they're run. I don't like how they're organized. And generally speaking, you see more sandbagging, which is recompeting a costume that has already won an award. You see more of that at comics, sci-fi, and pop culture expos than you do at anime cons. And while there's a lot of like discussion about when it's appropriate to sandbag, I generally choose not to do it, and it makes me uncomfortable when people win like a best in show at Cincinnati Comic Expo and then go to, Atlanta and do it at Atlanta Comic Con. It feels weird to me.
Conventions as we know them are dying, and I want to talk about it. The first and biggest thing that's happening to conventions is the cost to attend is skyrocketing. I want to pull up receipts. Hold on. Here's just one example. I have gone to Anime Milwaukee every single year since 2020. In 2020, I'm looking at my receipt right now. I paid $55 for my weekend badge in 2020, and that was 1 month before the convention. This year, 2025, I bought my badge in May, which is 8 months, 9 months, 10 almost before the convention. I paid $70, 10 months before the convention. Right now, it's $80. If I were to buy my badge a month before the convention, like I did 5 years ago, I would be paying $80. It's gone up $30 in 5 years just to go for a weekend. Next problem.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Real quick, if you are looking for an artist, then I am your man. I am open for commissions and I am doing fan art, anime style art, character designs, character concept art, group art, as well as Christian art. If you are interested, the prices start as low as $50 per artwork. You can contact me at my email, which is in the description below, or you can order through Coffee and I will see you there.
Is just the overall culture of being at a convention has drastically changed. People don't engage with each other anymore. Nobody approaches another person anymore. Everyone sticks to themselves. I'll get compliments by people like walking by me, but nobody will like stop and take a picture. And if they do stop to take a picture and ask, they don't get my Instagram afterwards to like say who I am. Artist alleys and vendor halls are also going off the wayside because, as you've probably seen, 3D printed stuff is becoming a lot more common in the artist alley. The problem is that the 3D printed sellers are not modeling their own prints. They're buying them from somebody else and then just printing them out and selling one thing for 3 times the cost of what the entire 3D model was when they paid for it. As somebody who always plans my cosplays around the meetup schedule, going to meetups fucking sucks now. People show up to the meetup, they take selfies for 15 minutes, exchange an Instagram handle maybe, and then leave. Nobody even talks about the fandom that we're meeting up for anymore. I'll go to the My Hero Academia cosplay meetup in my Tamaki cosplay, and I'll take about 5 photos with people who actually know who I'm cosplaying, and then we all leave, because nobody actually talks about My Hero Academia at the My Hero Academia meetups. It's just a place to take photos for your Instagram post after the convention. It's just, overall, as I've been going to cons for the past 5 years, especially the past couple years, now that I've had, like, the financial stability to regularly go to conventions, I'm noticing every year the overall quality of the convention I'm going to is getting worse, but the price of the badge is going up exponentially every single year.
What's going on, dudes? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another video. So, when was the last time you went to Comic-Con? What was the last anime convention you went to? And the last time you went to an anime convention or any convention, you know very well that half the people in that convention did not take a shower or use deodorant. Oh man, but the smelly nerds is not the worst part about the conventions. It just seems like nowadays conventions, or heck, Comic-Con itself is not about comic books anymore. And how can it? How can Comic-Con be about comic books when American comic books suck? Unless they start pushing indie comic creators, I don't think they're gonna do very well. You know, if American comic books suck, then why don't they just push? They start promoting indie creators. And the reason why is because a lot of these comic book conventions are corporate. They are corporate, especially Comic-Con. Comic-Con is very corporate. They're not there to talk about the comic books or promote the comic books. No, they're there to promote movies and TV shows of all kinds. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you've noticed, but most quote-unquote comic book conventions, Comic-Con, has more anime fans than comic book fans. Have you noticed? Have you noticed that? I mean, nowadays you can name a convention anything. You can name it. What was it? When I was in Connecticut, there was Comic-Con, or I forget the name. Amazing Comics Convention, something like that. It was supposed to be a comic books convention, but like more than half the people there dressed as anime characters. So as you can see, like most people aren't even paying attention to the American stuff anymore. Everybody's watching anime, and it shows, right? But let's go ahead and have Comical Opinions YouTube channel give us the runaround. Here we go.
Raise your hand if you think a Comic-Con is a comic book convention. Keep it up. Now, keep it up if you've been to one in the last 5 years. Yeah, that's what I thought. Some of you maybe, most of you no. According to the 2025 report, The Real Reason Comic Book Conventions Are Failing, the numbers don't lie. While attendance is up, the data reveals a fundamental change in their core identity. A 2024 YouGov survey found that nearly 2/3 of attendees use social media to get their con news, and just under half expressed an interest in comics. This is the first red flag. Look, let's be clear. We're not talking strictly about attendance numbers. Those are often still pretty high. We're talking about the soul of the event. The numbers reflected in the report noted that while comic sales surged this year, and depending on your point of view, that more along the lines of graphic novels than actual superhero comics, which is what most people think about, multiple publishers have had a noticeably smaller or even absent presence at some major events. The reason? Hollywood is fleeing. The Geek Tyrant 2025 schedule breakdown confirmed what everyone suspected. The blockbuster spectacle is gone. While George Lucas's panel and a Tron Ares presentation were highlights, the absence of major studio tentpoles from Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con created a vacuum. This retreat, as reported by Studio Remarkable, created an unexpected shift in the convention's atmosphere. The show lacked a true blockbuster draw, but it also made specialized presentations more accessible. The central idea is that this is a gold rush for anyone but the comic creator. A 2025 Growth Market Report study on the comic convention market found that 59% of attendees in 2025 were there for reasons other than comics. That means more than half the people there have no interest in the books themselves. This is a far cry from where we started. They're there for celebrity appearances, video games, movie panels, and TV shows. The comic book is no longer the main event. It's the opening act. If we go back a little bit further, according to a 2024 YouGov survey, less than half of attendees expressed a direct interest in comics. The majority were there for movies, TVs, video games, and celebrity appearances. This demographic shift is critical. The organizers are not catering to the comic book fan. They are catering to the lowest common denominator, the casual observer. But here's the real kicker. The problem isn't just about what's in the convention, it's about who can afford to be there. The report found that vendor agreements for smaller, more comic-centric events in 2025, like VA Comic-Con, showed exhibitor booths for as little as $99.95. In contrast, larger, more general events like the Big Apple Comic-Con have exhibitor spaces starting at $450. It's a gold rush for anyone but the indie creator. The high costs often price out independent comic creators and smaller publishers who rely on direct sales to turn a profit. And as reported by Publishers Weekly in 2024, it's not just the indies. Major comic publishers like DC, Dark Horse, Image, and IDW have had a noticeably smaller or even absent presence at some of the major events. They're getting a worse deal and they're getting out. So that's all about the publishers and the indie creators. What about the fans? For the fans who do want to go, the experience is becoming, to be frank, a joke. The Friends of Comic-Con blog reported on the utter collapse of the SDCC 2025 open registration. The system crashed, people were kicked out of the virtual queue, and the sale had to be stopped. What kind of professional operation that's been in business for, in this case, decades at this point, has that kind of lack of quality for their purchasing experience? This isn't just a technical glitch, it's a symptom of a system that can't handle its own success because it's no longer about a tight-knit community. It's about a disorganized, fragmented audience, and a business system that is not equipped to handle it. Now here's a debate-worthy question before we get too much further. Are these events truly failing? Or have they simply transformed into something else entirely, leaving the comic book reader behind? The answer, according to a Studio Remarkable study, is that they have transformed, and the comics have returned to their proper place, depending on your point of view. At San Diego Comic-Con 2025, with less competition from movies and TVs, the comics industry reclaimed the spotlight. Panels about graphic novels were packed and publishers reported having one of their best Comic-Cons ever. As one creator told them, "We sell comics every year, hand over fist, but you have to plan and hustle." The shift isn't a problem, it's an opportunity. Smaller, more specialized comic-focused cons like the Indie Comics Creator Con, IC3, are flourishing. They're proving that when you get rid of the pop, the culture that remains is pure, unadulterated comics. So, when you hear that Comic-Con is a failure, remember this. It hasn't failed. It's just changed its purpose. It's no longer for you, the comic book reader. It's for the masses, the movie fans, the pop culture enthusiasts. But a word of warning. While the big cons are chasing Hollywood, the real magic is happening in smaller, more focused gatherings. The ones that remember their roots and the people who made them great in the first place.
Now, I've only really gone to Comic-Con once, and as big as it is, I did like it, but I was always more interested in going into the anime conventions. I've been to Katsucon, I've been to Anime Matsuri in Texas, Comic-Con in the Northeast. I have not gone to Anime Next, which I would like to go. But the great thing about the anime conventions is that, first of all, it's anime. Second of all, some of them even have rock concerts. Yeah, rock concerts. And they've even started to show K-pop bands, like Korean pop groups in these Korean pop bands in these conventions. And while comic book conventions, they're supposed to focus on American comics, but half the people there, more than half the people, are anime fans, and they really just go there just to, like, I don't know, take pictures. But yeah, what's the point of having a comic book convention when the American comic book industry is dead? For real. I mean, American comic book creators, a lot of them started to promote their comic books American comic books in anime conventions now. Go to Anime Matsuri, you see what I mean. But yeah, man, things have changed. Things have changed. You know what we need? We need a Webtoons convention. Yeah, a Webtoons convention. Along with an anime convention. That would be a really good combo. That would be a really good combo. Webtoons convention, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna start it, and I'm gonna get stinking rich. All of you are gonna come to the Andy Webtoons convention, even though I don't really read Webtoons. Whatever your thoughts are, comment below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. Guys, it's your boy in the Matrix. Godspeed.